No joint platform, why Nscn-Im says it won't collaborate with the NNPGs, and what that means in 2025. The headline shift: in the run-up to August 14, 2025, the Nscn-Im leadership drew a bright line. It will not collaborate with the Working Committee of Naga National Political Groups, WC-NNPGs. Chairman Q. Tuccu explicitly framed collaboration as dangerous because, in his reading, the NNPGs seek an India within arrangement that, he argues, compromises Naga identity under the Indian Constitution. Tuccu's public comments rejected unity with the NNPGs and restated IM's commitment to the 2015 Framework Agreement FA and to core symbolic claims flag and Yezabo, on which it refuses to retreat. That firm refusal did not arise in a vacuum. Through late July and early August, NNPG figures, including convener and GPRN, Nscn unification leader N, Kitovi Zhimomi, had publicly questioned Nscn-Im's sincerity, pushing instead for an early honorable solution with or without IM. The NNPGs repeatedly cast IM as the chief obstacle and claimed their own track is more pragmatic and inclusive. On August 11-14, the critique sharpened. WC-NNPG's statements asserted that IM is not for solution and accused it of blocking closure on the Naga issue, while Kitovi used the symbolic week to rally support for an acceptable settlement and to urge the public to rise above threats and intimidation. The volley underscored a narrative split. One side says the other watered down Naga aspirations. The other says the first has become a veto player. What Nscn-Im is actually refusing, and why? From IM's perspective, unity is not a sentimental ask, but a constitutional one. Any joint platform with NNPGs that positions the end state squarely within the Indian Constitution sans separate flag constitution is, for IM, a red line. IM leaders argue that the FA of August 3, 2015 and the earlier Amsterdam Joint Communiqué, July 11, 2002, created a textually distinct lane, shared sovereignty, two entities, and recognition of the Nagas' unique history, which they read as incompatible with a strictly intra-constitutional settlement. Hence, the warning that collaboration with NNPGs would dilute hard-won textual commitments. The more pointed political version of that reasoning appeared in reporting last week. IM leaders alleged the NNPGs had surrendered identity claims by accepting an India within formula and were, in effect, stewarded by New Delhi to close a quicker, thinner deal. Whether or not one agrees, it clarifies why IM equates collaboration with convergence and refuses both. Why the NNPGs keep pressing for an inclusive closure now. The NNPG's counter-argument is equally clear. After decades of ceasefire, public patience is thin, governance gaps persist, and achievable devolution inside the Indian constitutional architecture should not be held hostage to maximal symbolism. Their 2025 messaging paints cooperation with IM as desirable but not essential, and depicts IM's FA-centric line as a negotiating cul-de-sac that has stalled a broad-based solution. On August 14, Kitovi again called for unity and for building a robust ground toward an early settlement, implicitly with the WC-NNPGs as the viable interlocutor set. How the refusal reshapes the chessboard. 1. Fragmentation becomes the default, not a bargaining tactic. For years, Naga unity has been invoked as both ideal and instrument. In 2025, IM's categorical no collaboration and the NNPG's equally categorical IM is blocking a solution convert fragmentation from a temporary leverage play into a strategic baseline. That blunts New Delhi's capacity to script a single inclusive settlement and increases the likelihood of dual-track endgames, e.g. a deal with NNPGs first, an IM-specific formula later or prolonged stasis. 2. The framework agreement is back at center stage. On IM's terms, IM's refusal to collaborate coincides with a renewed, emphatic reading of the FA and Amsterdam text as delivering recognition beyond standard autonomy. By reciting those documents' anniversaries this week and their phrases about shared sovereignty and coexistence between two entities, IM is trying to re-anchor the talks to a higher baseline than in India within settlement. That makes symbolic parity, flag, Yezabo, the litmus test for any compromise. 3. A messaging war with real audiences. Each camp is now messaging New Delhi, internationally literate observers, and crucially, the Naga public. NNPGs assert they are close to something deliverable and accuse IM of perfectionism. IM counters that deliverability without dignity amounts to a hollow piece. The 2025 Independence Day cycle offered both the stage and the audience for these competing claims, amplified by state, region, media, and civil society channels. 4. A harder problem in neighboring states. Any Naga settlement intersects Manipur, Arunachal Pradesh, and Assam. As rhetoric hardens, inter-ethnic anxieties heighten, especially in Manipur's hills, because parallel sovereignty or expanded symbolic recognition can be read as steps toward territorial reimagining. That doesn't make either camp wrong per se. It does mean sequencing, minority, rights design, and public communication matter even more when proposals surface. This sensitivity is why Delhi tends to prefer constitutional certainty before symbolic elasticity. What New Delhi is likely weighing now? Deal geometry. A phased, modular framework that lets groups sign onto baskets they agree with while deferring the most sensitive symbolic clauses is the classic workaround. IM's 2025 posture narrows that path, unless clever formulas, e.g., cultural, ceremonial flag recognition, plus a robust customary law architecture are judged acceptable. Interlocutor management. Delhi will keep the NNPG channel warm, given its visible readiness, while probing whether functional equivalence of IM's demands, land, forest control, fiscal and policing powers, codified customary law, could move IM without formal parity on flag, constitution. Meanwhile, security management around August 1415 remains tight but status quo. Narrative risk. If Delhi seals a deal only with NNPGs, IM could portray it as illegitimate and double down on parallel observances and camp-based legitimacy. If it waits for IM, NNPGs will keep painting IM as obstructionist. Either choice has reputational and stability costs. The August 2025 media pattern, mutual delegitimization. The public record around August 14 shows a textbook claim and counterclaim loop. IM's charge, collaborating with NNPGs, is dangerous to the Naga cause. NNPGs have accepted a constitutional box that erodes identity, Tuccu's line. NNPG's countercharge, IM is not for solution, blocks closure, and misrepresents the FA. They urge unity for an acceptable, honorable settlement now. Independent and regional outlets captured both arcs, while national dailies highlighted Muiva's reiteration that Nagaland's history, sovereignty, flag, and constitution are non-negotiable. Scenarios from here: a dual-track negotiation, asymmetric closure, NNPG first. Delhi advances a package with NNPG's enhanced autonomy, legal entrenchment of customary practices, institutional devolution, while leaving a standing invitation for IM to join later. Risk. IM mobilizes as the guardian of real recognition, camps persist, taxation and parallel institutions continue. NNPGs claim governance gains but face a legitimacy contest. B. Creative symbolism inside constitutional guardrails. Delhi floats a two-layer symbolism. A Naga national flag recognized for cultural and specified public uses. The Yadzabo codified as customary law under constitutional protection, plus a cross-state Naga coordination mechanism without boundary changes. If marketed as recognition without dual sovereignty, IM could claim dignity. Delhi preserves constitutional cohesion. NNPGs claim deliverability. The choke point is IM's current no deferral mood on symbols. C. Manage stalemate. Talks continue, camps remain, and both sides keep the ceasefire ground rules while waiting for a political window, national or state level. This risks ceasefire fatigue and erodes public trust as no war, no peace. Drags on precisely the scenario NNPGs use to argue for an early solution. What to watch? OGDEC 2025. 1. Textual clarifications from IM or Delhi on what shared sovereignty and two entities mean in practice today. If either side publishes clarifying notes, it may signal readiness for semantic bridges. 2. Inter-platform choreography. Any informal proximity between IM and NNPGs, even via church bodies or tribal forums, would hint that no collaboration is negotiable language, not doctrine. Conversely, more pressers like this week's make dual-track outcomes likelier. 3. Civil society positioning. Student unions, church groups, women's bodies, and apex tribal organizations can bestow or withdraw social license. watch their communiques and prayer meets after August 15. 4. Local economic signals. Taxation regimes, contractor compliance, and camp logistics often reveal whether a movement expects deal dividends soon or is bracing for a long wait. Risks if the line hardens. Competing mandates. If NNPG's Inca package and IM stays out, two claims to speak for the Nagas will coexist, complicating program delivery, security normalization, and inter-district coordination. Ceasefire drift. Without visible political movement, discipline within armed structures can fray, and informal levies deepen public fatigue fuel for NNPG's critique and for Delhi's impatience. Regional spillover. In mixed districts, particularly in Manipur's hills, sharpened identity rhetoric during celebratory observances can spark low-grade clashes or harden community lines, even if top leaders call for restraint. How the stance framed Nscn-Im's 79th Independence Day observance, August 14, 2025. Against this backdrop, Nscn-Im